Joe Reinagel, Jason Minix, The Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
It is The Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. He's Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix. Man, this is going to be a lot of fun on the Buyers Barricades guest line. Former Blitz co-host, Aggie legend, former Cowboy, Dat Nguyen joining us. Dat, how's your Wednesday, man?
Hey, I'm doing good, guys. Always an honor to be in you guys' presence. You know that?
Well, I tell you what, Dad, I feel very fortunate. I'm sitting in your seat now. I guess the one you used to occupy.
Yeah, I wanted it for you, Joe. Keep it up for you, buddy. Yeah, so always great to hear you guys, man. Hope you guys all doing well. Hope family's doing well. I don't know how hot it is down there in San Antonio, but it is brutal up here in Dallas.
Well, yeah, it's about the same everywhere, and I think you will appreciate this. Nothing in this studio has changed since you left. It literally is the same chair and the same microphone that you were using a few years ago when you were working here.
You know, technology. We had all the best stuff though, Jason. Remember we got the managers, the executive team to buy us everything, equipment that was way futuristic. So hey, we're still ahead of it. I know you guys still ahead of the game.
Were you working at the same place I was? That I mean, you know, it's so fun to get you back on the air because still, I mean, we go places, Joe and I do. People ask me how you're doing. They know you left here to go take over at Chick-fil-A. Your presence is still so big, not only here in San Antonio with the Cowboys, with Texas A&M. And I feel like I know you well enough to ask you this. Texas A&M, 12th Man Productions, is doing a documentary about your life story, which is an incredible life story. I'm honestly surprised you agreed to do a documentary. Why now?
I think, you know what's crazy? You know this. We had opportunity for movies and etc., but it felt right. We started in 2019. A&M came and said, Andy Richardson and the production team came, hey, we want to do a documentary. What it is that we want to allow to share the story, not just my story, but I'm really the guinea pig of all this stuff. But at the end of the day, we're going to have a whole lineup of other athletes that went through Texas A&M that are going to get to share their story. And so I was the guinea pig of this. They fooled me. They tricked me into doing this, Jason. You know, I don't like all the public stuff to do, but I thought when we were asked, I thought about, wow, this is a chance. God had given me a platform to do a lot of things in my career. Obviously, get to work with you guys and being down there for a few years, coach at A&M, played A&M, Cowboys, coach at the Cowboys, played with the Cowboys. And now with Chick-fil-A, it's been an unbelievable ride. And I just thought that the Gen 2s or the Gen 3s or the future generation of the Vietnamese descent, they might not knew exactly what had happened. So you guys will get to see that in that story in the documentary. And for me, also, we all get an opportunity to get a paper and a pen and we write a story. And I was fortunate to write a story. You guys are part of that story. We cross paths. And I think that's what's so cool about the whole thing is that from high school to college to professionally, man, I'm just trying to share a story and inspire other people, kids to dream and people that don't feel like they're fit in. Hey, there's a chance you are unique. You are special.
And
this way.
You know what, Dad? That's what's amazing. I watched the trailer, and I tell you, just the trailer, it gets me excited to see the documentary. Yeah. They did a fantastic job on that. But, you know, just strictly football-wise and growing up and some of the things that you overcome, you're such an inspiration to a lot of people because I know you were told a lot of times that you're too small, you can't do this, and yet you were at the top of your game. I mean, that just has to be incredible when you look back and see everything that you were able to do and accomplish.
Yeah, and it's all because of people, too. And it goes back to what I just mentioned. I had a lot of great coaches. I had a lot of great players. I was in the right place at the right time. When you watch the documentary, you see how my career started. I told you the story multiple times. And I shared this with a lot of people. I said, you never know when the opportunity is going to be. You know, the guy that was in front of me at Texas A&M, my redshirt freshman year, might be the bottom. I was bottom of the dumps. I never thought I was going to play at that level. Never thought I would even ever wear the maroon and white jersey. And and I gave myself a chance, meaning I listened to one guy. My high school coach said, hey, the game of football is going to end one day. You got to go back to Texas A&M and get that degree. So I didn't want to hear that at 18 years old, but I went back and I did that, and I worked myself to give myself an opportunity. 6 o'clock in the morning, I was in the gym. 8 o'clock, I went to class. 12 o'clock, I was in the gym again. 4 o'clock, I was back with the team. And I did that for a whole year just because I wanted to prove people that I do belong and that I do have an ability to play at this level. Even though there was doubt at that time, but I worked myself from, 9th, 10th, 11th on the depth chart, all the way up that off season, that summer, to be a backup to the guy that was on my class who started or played the year before, was going to start the next 3 years at Texas A&M. He's the next great linebacker there at the wrecking crew. Going on the game, I knew he was going to be there for 3 years. Hey, I might have a chance after 3 years when he decides to leave, and I hope that he leaves in 2 years to go to professionally. And then I might have a chance to start at A&M, and right now I'm just going to contribute as a special teams player, play where you need it, whatever. So I did that, mindset that, and then all of a sudden leading up to the first game of my redshirt freshman year. We're about to play LSU on a Saturday, Wednesday. We were practicing football. Coach R.C. Slocum go, guys, hey, get on the line. We're going to run sprints. And Lord and behold, man, the guy that was starting in front of me, the guy that's going to be the next All-American, steps on a sprinkler head, twists his ankle, and can't play. And that's how my career started at Texas A&M.
Wow.
Dat Nguyen got the start, never gave that job back, and led the team in tackles every year. The great Dat Nguyen joining us here on the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Dat, by your answer on the documentary, you've seen it, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Because I know I was going to, I wondered if you were going to wait and watch it with people, if you're going to watch it by yourself, because I was talking to one of the SIDs at A&M today who said he's watched it 3 times and tears up at the same spot all 3 times he has watched it. At what point while you were watching the documentary did it get you?
Well, you know what? Things move so fast, and I think a lot of athletes or professional athletes will tell you that when you're competing and you're on a schedule, your workout schedule, you're on a season schedule, you get to not enjoy the moment. And I think looking back, I didn't enjoy as much as I should have when I was with the Cowboys at A&M. I was trying to prove myself every year, thinking that I was going to lose my job every year, just like I did the Cowboys. But I think the biggest part that really hit me, Jason and Joe, was that, if you really look at the story, we came from Vietnam. We left Vietnam during the war. We come to America. We settled in a small town in Rockport. We came from a village south of Saigon called Bin Da. Amazing to me. And God works on this. He's ironic. God's amazing. It's, Bin Da translates to Port of Rock. And I lived in Port Rock for the last 40, 30 years of my life. And what's just crazy is that we, or myself, sitting back now, and really a few years ago, I realized that we saw the whole community change. When we moved there, we got there, things were, there's a lot of tension. There was a lot of uncomfortable situations. And for a Friday night, a town shuts down and you look in the stands and it doesn't matter the color you are, it doesn't matter who you were, but you were rooting for the same team that's playing out there. And that was the community. And that's, I think, was the best part of the whole experience of my career, my life, is that, hey, we saw a whole town transform to accepting the outsiders to be one of them.
Dad, how difficult was that? You growing up and coming to America and growing up with some of that hostility and some of the stuff that you had to go through. How difficult was it to get through all that?
Well, I think as a kid, I don't think you experienced it much. I think my parents would tell you that it was a little bit more difficult for them. English, the language barrier, etc. All right, and for us, we just knew that we were each other. It's all we had was each other. And I can remember in 5th grade or 1st grade going to school. I was 5 years old. My mom said, "Hey, make sure you stay with your brothers or your cousins. We don't know who we can trust or we can play with." And And I didn't know. I just wanted to go recess, right? I just want a soccer ball, I want a football, whatever the ball you give me, I'd rather go play. But I know that from my side of it, it was a little bit more cush than my parents or my relatives I experienced it, because if you go back, it's just, think about now. If you settle, you have an occupation, you're raising a family, so a group of people comes in and they kind of invading your occupation and your space, it's going to be a little bit different, to give up a little bit more than what you had or what you've been established, or could have been generation brought down to your family. So, well, for my family and my older siblings, I think they can attest, share more stories of how difficult that was. For me, sport really helped me adapt and adjust to growing up down there with the different community and different backgrounds. So it wasn't as difficult, Joe.
The great Dat Nguyen joining us here on the Blitz on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. And certainly sports was a big thing for you, Dat. And, Joe feels like he knows football. I feel like I know football. And you know this, with when we were working together, I felt like I knew football until I spent a lot of time with you, whether it was, looking at film with Sean Lee or different people that would show up. You would always grab a grease board or a piece of paper and you guys start drawing plays. And I remember you telling me, I want to see what he sees. And I learned so much from you from that time that I look at the Cowboys now, same end result of the seasons when you were working here. We're still chasing that elusive Super Bowl, but I know you see the game differently than I do, that Joe does, that most people listening. When you look at what Dan Quinn has done with that Cowboys defense, what do you see out of that group? Who's the, besides Mike, obviously, who's the guy there that you go, that's the guy you need to be paying attention to?
Well, there's a lot, and I think he does a great job, and Dan has done a great job. It reminds me, funny that you brought this up, because it reminds me when the Cowboys were on the heyday. We always talk about the triplets, right? Troy, Mike, and Emmett. Oh, they were unbelievable players, obviously Hall of Famers, but that defense didn't get a lot of recognition, and I think that's where the Cowboys are coming right now. It's that the defense, if they can have a year they had it last year, as good as they did last year, I think this team is going to be very good. And if there's a player that you always want to look at, and then you want to see, hey, who's this guy going to be? And I think that's going to be the hardest one, because you're going to have your three levels of players. If you have a good defense, you always say, hey, do we have a good corner? Oh, yeah, Diggs. Oh, we have a good linebacker. Oh, yeah, we got Parsons. Do we have a D-line? Oh, yeah, we got, Tank. So they all got good players at different levels, which you need that to be good at that level. But it's always another player that comes in that you don't really, is a complementary player. It could be a linebacker, it could be the next corner, it could be the kid out of that we just brought in that used to play for New England or in the Colts now. But whoever that person's going to be, I think it's going to show you guys when you guys go to training camp, when you guys start seeing preseason game, and maybe the first month of the season. The first month, I always tell Jason, the first month is really just an audition. Play 17 games or 16 games back then. The first month is really, hey, you fill out your team. Who is the one that surprised you? Who one's supposed to be dressed up during the week or during the Sundays, and now they are. And I think that's going to be a guy that's going to show up. I don't know who that's going to be, but it's going to be one of those levels. But what the Cowboys do have is that they do have the star players at each level. But who's going to be that complimentary guy that's going to be like, dang, he's opposite of Tang, and now he's going to give us double-digit sacks. He's going to change the game just because of those sacks. Or you have a linebacker that comes in that's like, whoa, we're going to take a lot of pressure off of, of Micah, because the stuff that Micah was doing coverage, we don't need him to cover. Let him go pass. I tell people all the time, that kid right there, the Mike Parsons kid, can be an all-pro at three positions. He can be a strong safety coming down in the box, be a box safety, he can be a linebacker, obviously, then be defensive end. He can be an all-pro at all three positions if he stays at any of those positions. So you got a dynamic player that can really be utilized in a game plan that offense really has to account for. I still remember the stories of Joe Theismann. He used to go on the line, and he goes up to the line, and he looks around, and he's like, hey, where's 56? Where's Taylor at? You know what I mean? When you have that guy like Michael Parsons, they need to know where he's at, because if not, you already won by mentally challenging a quarterback to worry about, hey, where's 11? I don't see 11. Where's he at? When he starts thinking about 11, you already got him beat.
That's outstanding. I got to go back to the college game, Dad, because I got to ask you your thoughts on Texas and Texas A&M reuniting that rivalry. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I wish we were playing more when Jason and I was there. I know Jason's a long boy guy. But I think this is awesome. I guess last 11, 12 years, we didn't have a chance. I guess the last 3 class in college didn't get a chance to experience this game. And I tell people all the time, it's such a unique game. And they say, why is it so unique, Dad? It's like, oh, yeah, it's unique because leading up to the game is like no other game. You have all these pageantry, you have all this thing, and everybody on campus, man, everybody's perking up just a little bit more because you want to do everything to win that game. And what's crazy is that I don't hate a lot of people. I really don't hate anybody at all. But for that 60 minutes in that game, on that day, I don't like those Longhorns. And for the next 364 days, I get to brag about it. But I have a lot of friends that go to Baylor, go to Tech, go to other schools, and they grew up in the Lone Star State, and that's what they say all the time to me. They say, even though I didn't go to school, I have no dog in the fight, but golly, I wish that game was back because it brought our family together. We talk about it, we share, we watch the game, we have turkey, whatever it is, and then we'll watch the game. So there's more people, not just the Aggies and the Longhorns, enjoy the rivalry. It's the whole state of Texas and in other states too as well. But I'm just excited that it's back. I'm looking forward to it of 2024. We're thankful we get to host it. And I always tell people, Jason Tucker, the last time we played was the one that booted me out of coaching. So
yeah,
now I'm flipping chickens instead.
But I mean, think about how things worked out. Justin Tucker hits that field goal, Longhorns win the game, and then you end up working in radio, and then you end up at Chick-fil-A. I mean, things worked out.
Oh, yeah. No, God works. The guy got a plan for everything, in my opinion. I wasn't a great speaker, or I was a great public speaking. I think the radio, 2.5 years, 3 years working with Jason has really helped me speak. And now I go speak and I lead my team and I do his presentation. I speak. So everything works out the way it's supposed to. And me thinking I was going to be the next head coach at A&M when I got there, I was fooling myself. So but reality hit in. Everything happens for a reason. And just thankful to be where I'm at today. And now get to share a story with you guys on July 4th.
Absolutely. And that story, the All-American, the Dat Nguyen Story from 12th Man Productions, it will be on July 4th, on Tuesday, on 12th Man TV and the mobile app. So on your smart TV, you can download the 12th Man app or go to the website, 12thman.com, and watch it online. It's going to be incredible for a guy that I still hear this all the time. Man, I'm a diehard Longhorn. There's one Aggie I like. It's Dat Nguyen. You're that guy, man. And I cannot wait to see this story, this documentary. And I'm glad that you allowed them to tell your story because it is incredible, my friend.
Well, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you guys, and thank you for having me on the show.
The great Dat Nguyen on the Buyers Barricades guest line. Appreciate it, Dat. Love you, man. Really good stuff with Dat. And again, July 4th that's going to be must-see TV.
The trailer got me hooked. I was and didn't want to see the trailer end. So just watching that, I'm fired up. Can't wait to see it.
Dat Nguyen. Again, on the Buyers Barricades guest line, Buyers Barricades provides traffic control, rental, and sales for San Antonio and beyond. Online at buyersbarricades.com.